Okay, guys, this is how financial services or fintech companies can add at minimum $100,000 a month in new opportunities in 30 days without having any brand recognition, worrying about regulatory constraints, or hiring overpriced agencies. If you don't know who I am, my name is Jason Carroll. I've been running marketing and advertising for some of the largest organizations in North America for the better part of a decade. These include some Fortune 100 companies and others. And over the last 4 years, I've been running a agency that works with financial services companies to grow their portfolio in a short amount of time. And I'm going to walk you through what that looks like today. So here's just one example of one of the fintech companies we've worked with really since the end of September. And you can see here the growth in total opportunity that has been gained of over $500,000 in a really short amount of time. So our process is very simple, but the reality is that most organizations simply don't follow it. And what I'm going to share with you today is a framework that you can take and you can implement in your business today to see an improvement in your cost per lead, a reduction in your cost per lead, an increase in your qualified leads, and ultimately an increase in your opportunities and sales closed. It's really going to improve that your sales pipeline. So let's jump into that. So what we like to do here is this is our framework. We start always with feeding our direct response ads, usually run on Meta, although sometimes we run on Google, but the purpose here is to show you how Meta can work for your business, is feeding performance creative as well as avatar creation into those direct response ads. And I'll talk a little bit about what that means in a little bit. Those ads are all going to drive to a very simple opt-in page that's going to collect your name, the prospect's name, email, phone number, effectively. And from that, we're going to send them into an email and SMS sequence if they do not book a sales call, and they're going to be hit forever with emails and SMSs until they either book a call or unsubscribe. And all of that's going to feed back into the sales call. Through the opt-in page, they can also directly book a call, and your sales team will be reaching out via phone to them effectively right away. We also retarget anybody, as we'll talk about later on, who doesn't end up putting their information in here. So they get pushed back up into the flow and they get retargeted with another separate offer. At the end of the day, once you get funneled through sales, you either have a qualified lead or an unqualified lead, and then you can deal with those as you ultimately please. Very simple, but there's some nuances there that are often missed. And so here's some of the problems that we see from fintech and financial services companies like yours. So you want to get clients, but I can't afford to hire lead gen guys that actually know how to get results. It's really easy to hire somebody on Fiverr or Upwork, but the majority of those people, unfortunately, have never done this before, don't actually know what they're doing, and are probably 20 years old living in their mother's basement. You can't afford ads or have tried ads, but they don't work. Very common issue. And the reality there is you probably haven't had a proper system in place to ensure that your ads are working the way they're supposed to. You struggle with increasing lead volume while maintaining a high quality of leads, which leads to flip-flopping between different strategies and never finding one that works. While you do work in an oversaturated market, and commoditization makes it difficult to stand out and compete. So you might think that you need brand recognition in order to make this work, which actually isn't true. You have challenges building trust and credibility. You tend to optimize marketing spend. You struggle to optimize marketing spend and ROI, and finding relevant potential customers who are qualified is a constant challenge. And of course, you can be hamstrung by regulatory constraints. The reality is platforms like Meta, like Google, they don't like this industry. It's an expensive industry and also comes with lots of potential spam and scam and things like that. And so there's lots of regulatory constraints that may exist. Here's just some examples of some recent campaign results in these industries that we've done. So on Meta here, worked with a financial services company for a number of years. Over a 1 year period, spent about $391,000, drove about, actually the totals aren't here, but it's approximately 20 to 30,000 leads at a cost per lead around $7 to $8. So this was a highly regulated financial and health industry related primarily to tax. And so very, very regulated, but had extremely good results after taking over this account when they were seeing, upwards of $15 in costs. So we have those costs for them. Fintech, this is a newer brand, so this is only 1 month of data here. But as you can see, $26 cost per registration. So that's somebody actually going through a full funnel and filling out an application to get ultimately a loan at the end of the day. And these are qualified leads in that they have a decent credit score as we filter all of that out. So $22,000 spent, 853 results there. Some real estate investing companies. This is just an example of one of the conversion rates on our website for one small campaign that we ran about 17%. That's very average for us. We fluctuate anywhere from about 15 to 25%. Real estate investing, another one. Again, this was one small example here of a recent campaign specifically targeting investment funds. Spent $3,500, generated 84 leads, and I know that 2 of those were closed deals, so they made way more than their money back there. So let's talk about what you need to do, going back here for a second, in order to create ads that actually work. The problem is that most businesses think they know who their audience is, who they're targeting, but they haven't actually put in the work to understand the nuances and the problems facing that audience and how they can position their solution to solve those problems. It seems very obvious. And when you hear that, you think, yeah, of course I know who my audience is, but you'd be surprised about how many companies just don't do this and don't do it properly. So we like to do what is called creating your avatar. And ultimately, at the end of the day, you have 2 main goals, right? You want to acquire qualified leads cost effectively, and you want to get those leads on the phone and close them into deals. But the problem is if you don't know who your audience is, you don't know your avatar, it's going to be very hard, A, to acquire qualified leads, and B, you're not going to be able to close them because there's going to be no congruence between what you're offering and what they want. So how do you do that? Well, you start at the very basic level of this, which is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If you took Psychology 101 in university or college, you'll know what this is, and I'm sure you've heard of it anyway. But this is a great place to start and a great place to think about where is your prospect in their mind right now today? Where do they want to be? How does your product actually help them get there? And how do you stand out from the crowd in order to help them get there? And so when you look at this, again, it's a hierarchy, it's a pyramid, starting at the bottom with the very basic physiological needs. Everyone needs food, water, warmth, rest, all these things, moving up to safety and security, belongingness and love, esteem, the feeling of accomplishment, and then, of course, self-actualization, achieving one's full potential. Now, there's lots of different ways to think about this. When we're thinking about, somebody who's looking to invest financially in their future or their family's future, well, we might think that that's a security, a safety need, right? It's down here. Because at the end of the day, securing your family's future is security. It's about safety. It's about ensuring the health and wellness of your family, right? So it sits down in this safe area of safety need. Now, here's the problem, or not necessarily problem, but here's the challenge and the thing to consider is that when you're marketing to somebody, the higher up this hierarchy you can go, the more likely they are to actually purchase. So think about that for a second. And I'll use an example. If you think about selling food or water, everyone needs it. Effectively, it's a commodity. So if you go to the grocery store, sure, you might be affiliated with a certain brand, but let me ask you, if you buy rice, do you actually look at what the brand name is of that rice, or do you just look for the cheapest or the highest quality organic rice? You probably don't know what the brand of rice is. And I'm sure some of you say, yes, I do. I love rice. I only buy this brand. But the point is that when you're at the bottom of that hierarchy, often it's a commodity. And so you don't really care who you're buying it from unless the brand that you're buying from has actually positioned itself in its marketing higher up this hierarchy. So take, for example, the brand Liquid Death. Liquid Death sells water. It's a physiological need. But how has this become a massive, massive company? I don't know their revenue. I think it's 9 figures at least, making millions and millions of dollars. How have they done that? Because they're still selling you on this idea of prestige and feeling accomplishment and probably even a bit of self-actualization with all the celebrities they've had involved in all these other things. So they're not just saying, hey, get a glass of water because you're thirsty. They're saying, hey, buy this water because it's going to make you feel, a sense of accomplishment. It's going to give you that power, that energy, all those things. And you're going to be associated with all these other like wealthy, successful people that drink it too. So although they're selling a physiological need, they're positioning their marketing as a psychological or as a self-fulfillment need. And that's what you need to think about. So again, if you're selling, something that's around security, you need to actually think about how can I market this from a perspective of esteem or self-actualization. So again, that's not that hard when we're talking about, a financial investment product, because at the end of the day, making money, say in the stock market or in real estate or in whatever financial investment you do, does give you a feeling of accomplishment and also makes you feel like you're fulfilling your potential, because perhaps you can get rich or you can retire early or you can provide for your family or pay for your kids' college or whatever that thing is. So if you position it from that perspective, instead of simply, hey, save for your future, you're going to be able to secure those prospects and close those prospects a lot easier. Right. So you have to think about that. It's really important. And you have to be able to follow these following questions. Like, who are you speaking for? Who are you speaking to? So the who, like specifically, who is that person? Is it a woman? Is it a man? Are they 25? Are they 45? Are they married? Are they divorced? Do they have kids? Do they live in the suburbs? Do they live in a rural area? What do they do? All these kinds of traditional things we might think about when we're building a persona. This is more than a persona. This is actually who those customers are. Look at your customer base, the people that down here, your customer data, right? Who actually buys from you? Who are these people that you're speaking to? And what is the transformation you're offering? Is it simply that you're going to make them a return on their investment? Or is it that, again, going back here, that you're going to give them some level of fulfillment in their future? Then think about the emotional why of your product or your service, right? Why would they emotionally benefit from buying it? And the rational benefit. So the rational benefit is going to be something like, call it guaranteed 8.6% returns annually based on the history of our fund, right? Whereas an emotional one might be gain more time to spend with your family because you're not worried about work or your future. Or, take that trip you've always wanted and retire early, right? An emotional benefit, something emotional. And then why not? What are the objections? Why won't people buy? Because they don't trust you. They don't know you. They don't believe that the fund will actually work, all these other things. And then what can you do to overcome these objections? And so how do you discover this information about your ideal prospect? Well, again, you use the company data you have. You use surveys, purchase data, sales calls, all these things to gather that actual hard data on those people that you've already sold that are obviously your prospects. Social listening, go to places like Reddit, like Quora, like X, search and listen and see what people are talking about, what they're saying, the language they're using, because then you can use that in your advertising. Conduct competitive analyses, right? Look at what your competitors are doing, who they're speaking to, the language they're using. Read industry reports, and of course, AI tools. Perplexity and Claude are both great for this. And as an example, Perplexity can feed right into Reddit, right? It actually has an integration right into Reddit, so you can search. My persona, my avatar is this individual. What kinds of things are they worried about for their investing future? And it will give you some answers. Or you can also use a tool like this, which is a tool we created. Let me just move that out of this is very hard to kind of see. I'll throw that over here. But basically, this is a tool that integrates with ChatGPT. And so again, you can input your customer avatar information, your product, your unique selling propositions. And what it's going to do is it's going to give you a before after grid. So what they feel before they've engaged with your product and what they feel like after. It's going to give you objections, an offer stack, which is basically like a hook, and some other things here, as well as actual hooks, and then even some ad copy as well. So we use this with our clients, and it's really, really easy. So I'll do a really, really short one now. This obviously isn't spending a lot of time on this, but just so you get a sense of like what this looks like. So customer avatar is a I'm just going to say a married man who is 45 years old, with a middle income of around 150K per year, and is looking for alternative investment opportunities so that he can retire early and spend more time with his young children. We'll say the product is a real estate investment fund. USP is, thousands of clients, a 30-year, 20-year track record of success, a 8% annual returns for the past 10 years, something like that. Obviously, you can refine these things. And so when you go into here, you click this, and within a few seconds, if it works, you can see that it's now come up with some information. The before state. So he has a single family home with a mortgage, feels like an anchor around his neck, a savings account that barely grows due to low interest rates, retirement accounts that seem insufficient. He feels overwhelmed by the pressure of balancing work and family life, so on and so forth, anxious about the future. He wakes up early but feels drained, so on and so forth. He's perceived as a hard worker, yet whispers from his peers suggest he's financially struggling to keep up. Like, you can see, this is pretty good. And then if we go here and we click this one, and all the prompts are in here too, so you can take all those prompts out and use them straight into ChatGPT if you wanted to. But this one will load as well, and that'll give us a sense of like the after side of things. So there you go. So now there's an after state here. He has multiple rental properties generating passive income, well-diversified portfolio, feels empowered and in control, wakes up refreshed, so on and so forth, right? And so you can kind of just see how that works. And then if we went into a couple of these other ones here, they should run pretty quickly. So you can see here, 10 objections: lack of trust, like I said, concerns about the fees, uncertainty about the liquidity, limited understanding of real estate investments, how they work, all those things, right? And then actually also shows you how to, like, one-liners to overcome each of these objections. I think that should work in a second as well, right? And then there's like some ad angles here, that you can literally take and now use in your ads. You can obviously modify them, as I always suggest, with AI, but I still not so bad. Secure your family's future with effortless investments. Okay. Effortless growth, your money work harder for you. I mean, there's some decent ideas there. And you can see here, our management team boasts a 20-year track record of success, so on and so forth. Overcomes those objections. So very, very easily, right, you can utilize that kind of a tool and get a lot of this information, especially if you plug in your existing data like we talked about. So that's step one. It's understanding your audience. So step two is building winning creative, building that actual performance creative. And so where a lot of brands fall short is they just take weeks to create even one ad creative. They expect that ad creative is, they expect that one creative, to drive sales. And when it fails, they've wasted all this time just focusing on that, going through approval processes, all this stuff, like tweaking, font sizes and brand colors and all this crap that actually doesn't matter at all. At the end of the day, you have to be iterating. You have to either be building 1 to 2 roughly creatives per week, depending on your spend levels. Obviously, if you're spending a lot more, of course you need more. But you have to do that if you want to see success. You have to iterate and you have to test these things. You have to test, more importantly, your hooks and your angles, like the messaging that you have in the creative, in order to see what's going to work. And so the challenge is most brands don't have the process to do that. And you need a process to do that. And so the simplest way to do that is to start creating templates. So start finding examples of other brands and things they're running and creating templates. We do this with our own content, but we do it in Figma, and we also do it in Canva as well. But we have some examples of different types of templates: before and afters, reviews, apps, social proof, so on. And these are like layouts that have just worked for us. These are ads that have worked for various brands for us. And so we know that style can work. And so then we have a easy starting point when we're creating ads in certain cases. And that's a really simple way to do it. And these are just some examples of the ads we have. And even with UGC, which is obviously very hard to create video, people overthink it. With AI, you can do this very simply and very quickly, at least to test different messaging. Like, here's a couple examples we did that we did with AI, to share this, like just 2 seconds of this one. This is all AI voiceover and using. And yeah, we used an editor, but editors aren't that hard to find. And we just cut it all together, and it worked really, really well as one of our ads, and ran for a really long time, even though it was literally B-roll. And at the time, it was for an app. We didn't even have app screens; we just made them up. So it's really, really simple to do. And one method you can do for that is you can actually go to Facebook Ads Library. You can find a competitor ad. You can download that actual video. You can download that video. You can create an audio transcript of that video in ChatGPT. You can put that into a tool like Descript to get the transcript. I'm literally giving you the framework here. Just copy what I'm saying right now, and you can do this. You take that transcript from Descript, you put it back into ChatGPT, and you say, hey, here's my URL of my company. Create a UGC script like the one below, and you paste that example below, and it will create a UGC script for you. And then boom, you have a script that you can then modify. It's not that hard, but you need that creative in order to win. So let's just talk about now, how does our system actually work? So what do we do in order to reduce cost per lead and maximize lead quality for our clients? And so we've touched on a lot of that. Really, for us, it's about direct response ads and landing pages. So the full funnel experience, ensuring your sales calls are dialed, creating email nurture and retention. So for ads and funnels, this is all about 30 to 60 video ads calling out direct pain points and using UGC content like the AI stuff I just spoke about, or when it's available, film it with existing customers and the internal leadership team. And there's so many times internal leadership doesn't want to do this, which is mind-boggling, because if it's going to make you hundreds of thousands of dollars, why wouldn't you just get on camera? But we're very good at coaxing and helping and encouraging and coaching these leaders to actually put this video together, because we have a simple, very relaxed system in order to, talk to them for about an hour and create a whole bunch of content. So we film a VSL, we send traffic to the opt-in page with the VSL, not always a VSL, but often. We collect their email and phone number and their name, and then we prompt them to schedule a call. We create an ongoing email sequence to nurture those cold prospects that haven't booked an actual call yet, or scheduled a call, or missed a call. And then we retarget anyone who, again, hasn't gotten on a call, or say didn't fill out their information on the landing page. We retarget them with a downloadable guide, so some other offer, 99 tips to invest early, whatever it is. And we create an automated SMS flow as well to tie into the email flow that we create. Then the sales team obviously calls warm leads immediately. Really important that they get on the phone and call them right away. And we can actually help hire a team of setters if you don't have a sales team, but most have sales teams or people that will handle sales. And then we continue to hit people with follow-up emails if they haven't booked or if they've missed calls, basically until they unsubscribe. And then we optimize the system and optimize the ads and ultimately push towards scale. So there's a couple important things to note about the sales call is that you have to have increased close rates. You have to be focused on increasing your close rates. How can you close more people? And so your lead conversion rates ultimately from the traffic have to opt in at about 20%. This means about 20% of the prospects that visit your landing page fill out the form, enter their phone number, all those things. 15% is okay, but anything below 10% will make it very difficult to scale. So you saw we had 16% in that one lead opt-in from that real estate company, and that actually worked really well, very, very standard around that 15%, but 20% is always the goal, especially in the industries with high CPMs and financial services. These kind of industries have high CPMs. It's expensive to advertise on Meta and elsewhere. High CPCs on Google. Your show up rate, you need to get everyone on a call. We can trade you how to increase these numbers, but you should be sending text reminders, doing callbacks, engaging via email, calling in the middle of the night if you have to. Anytime somebody says, if they raise their hand and say, call me at 8 p.m., call them at 8 p.m. It's amazing how many business owners just don't want to make calls outside of business hours when it can mean the difference between closing a $200K deal or not. Who cares if you work 9 to 5? Like, make the deal, take the call, right? And then your close rate obviously will differ depending on your business, your offer, your conversion rates, show up rates, all those things. But your sales team needs to be aware of those metrics and what those goals are to hit. For some clients, that's 9%. For others, it's like 20 or 30. You need to be fully aware of what those numbers are so that they know they can hit them. Email nurture. So here's a very simple example of a welcome series that we'll set up. And of course, these can be modified and changed. This isn't simple outline, but you could literally take this and use it tomorrow. Immediately, you're going to send the lead magnet delivery email, or that's for the lead magnet side, or it would be a thanks for booking call email, something to that effect, right? Which promises that content, establishes credibility, has a CTA to book or whatever the thing is. Then the first hour, or it can be sometimes the first day, you need a follow-up value-added email, another tip, right? That's not in the lead magnet. By the way, we forgot to mention XYZ, right? And then you build on that content and you remind them to book a call. Day 2, it's a problem agitation email. You're addressing the main pain point, sharing common mistakes others make, positioning your solution as the unique approach and the right approach. And again, pushing people to book that call. And day 4, it's a social proof email. So client success story, specific results, how your fund's done, all these kinds of things, before after scenarios. Again, you're always pushing for that book to call. Then a direct consultation offer, a direct call that's literally, hey, this is what's going to happen on the call when you book. This is what we'll do in those 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, whatever that time frame is. This is what you're going to get. Day 10 is more authority building. So sharing your unique methodology, your approach, why you're different, positioning yourselves as the experts. Day 12, that last opportunity. Hey, this is the scarcity urgency element, recapping your value proposition, addressing any fear or the fear of missing out, and a clear CTA to book. And then they would ultimately just get put into your regular newsletter. That's the basic ideas. And then there's, of course, enhancements on top of that with triggers and testing CTAs and subject lines and all those kinds of things, SMS reminders and so on. Then on the retention side, most organizations I speak to here have a lot of this already dialed because you've been in business a long time, but there's 3 areas that I often see that are missed. One is onboarding. So having a seamless experience from sales to handoff to next steps, making clients feel excited about working with you, every step of the way. Referrals, always asking for referrals all the time, giving a deal to anyone who refers. We're not in your business, but we offer 12% of any deal closed to anyone that refers us clients. And this helps, of course. And then case studies, testimonial videos. Once you're getting results, and I'm sure you have results, getting case studies and testimonials, preferably video. And there's lots of tools, testimonial.to, others, to do this, and really building a system in order to go out to your past clients and incentivizing them to do the same thing. You can use these in your ads. You can use these in your landing pages, in your emails, all over the place, and it's going to help you drive more results. So that's our framework. That's basically what we do. And you could take all of that away and you could build it out yourself, and you will, I almost guarantee it, you'll see a drop in your cost per lead. You'll see improvement in your close rate, all those things.